Hey, it's Brunch with REC, and we're live. The team tells me, Mr. Simos Papailias, what's going on, brother?
All right.
Hey.
Run an intro, right?
You gotta turn off your audio because I'm gonna get feedback from you, brother.
Done.
What's going on?
Good morning, my man.
How's your week?
Good morning, REC insiders. Good morning, REC Nation. I love you. I missed you. It's been 2 weeks.
Well, hang on, buddy. Look. It has been 2 weeks since we saw the REC Nation, but something happened last week. Something happened last week. It just happened to be on a Sunday. We missed it. It was your birthday, the big 2-4. The big 2-4.
Can you imagine I turned 24?
So, guys, we weren't able to obviously do the brunch last week. We do it every other week. So make sure we make Simos because his head's not big enough yet.
It's not.
Let's
big
put it in the comments. It was our boy's birthday. I won't tell you what his age was. I'll say he's 24. He feels like he's 24. I love the messages already that are coming in. People are letting us know if they're having Starbucks, if they're having Tim Hortons, whatever they're doing. Maybe it's coffee at home.
If they're having their birthday, my birthday.
Let's light up the chat with birthday messages for the one and only Mr. Simos Papailias. Before we even start brunch, I also want to give a big shout out to Jordan from Food for Family _catering is his Instagram profile. He makes this happen now every other week for us.
So I'm just going to show something.
Okay? As you should.
Okay.
As you should.
So doesn't this guy walk in here? I don't know if you can see this or not, but doesn't this guy make this beautiful salsa verde underneath these beautiful poached eggs that I'm going to poke just for you? Bam, 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 bam. So this was catered and delivered in the structure, texture, and consistency of the egg has maintained its integrity for the last 45 minutes.
So he dropped it off. Yeah, right.
That's what you call a professional, my friend.
He is a professional. If you're looking for catering anywhere in the GTA,
What a good guy.
Not sure if he goes out further than that, but just an amazing guy. But the food is awesome. Like at the end of the day, if you're getting catering, you want to make sure that the food is good. He bakes the bread at home, fresh.
This is dumb.
Dropped off, I don't know how many loaves of bread for us. Make sure to go give Jordan, his Instagram profile again is Food for Family _catering on Instagram. And I know a lot of you guys are on Facebook with us. You might be watching live on YouTube. It's Brunch with REC. It's where real estate conversations happen. We're going to give it a little bit more time for some more people to come on as we like to wait, but the messages are coming in. Happy birthday, Simos. Happy birthday, Simos. Is it your birthday?
Thank you.
John, it's not his birthday today, but it was Sunday. It was Sunday, this past Sunday. So we thought, why shouldn't we be? It's okay. Just put just on the side there. Why shouldn't we make sure that we celebrate our boy's birthday? Nice to see Tina. As I mentioned, John, Brian, I love Heather. We see obviously Ty's here. Guys, if you're new to our world and you don't know who Tyler is, Tyler's our air traffic controller / director of real estate concierge services. So he makes sure that if you need a plumber anywhere in the country, like literally, if you need a plumber in Saskatchewan or you need an electrician in Vancouver, you need a second set of eyes on a lease agreement, all you have to do is send an email and put whatever you need in the subject line. Don't overthink this. You need write the whole paragraph in the subject line.
This is real support.
To info@reccanada.com. I think he mentioned it, John, saying yes. Michael, nice to see you. Michael, congratulations on your most recent investment with REC Canada at House of Assembly. Big shout out to you, buddy. And just love the support, the ongoing support from everyone. Our VP's in here as well. Laura, she just ate the eggs and they were so good. She says, awesome, good job. Tina, want to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for thinking of us to introduce us to your family. I mean, this is what we do it for. This is why we put on these brunches. It's why we have a real estate concierge service. It's why we wrote the book on how to buy, how to sell, how to invest on your own, as I have it backwards and upside down. It's why we wrote the book. It's because what we're hoping here at REC is that at the end of the day, we become the authority in the GTA when it comes to buying, selling, and investing. And when you think of your family and you make that introduction to us, it is by far the highest compliment. So thanks again, Tina. And thanks to everybody. I mean, the amount of introductions we've gotten in the past, just 30 days alone has been amazing. So again, thank you for that. Today, Simos, what are we going to be talking about, buddy?
Yeah. So we really want to focus in. The April stats just came out, 2.5 to 2 days ago.
Yeah.
We really want to take a look at people are definitely have been messaging us, emailing us, and calling us to kind of figure out, is this going to slow down? Should I buy now? Am I missing out on another 20% bump, etc.? So as everybody here should know, and everybody in our clients know, that we're not real estate speculators at all. So to ask me or you to buy because it's going to go up by 20%, you're asking the wrong guy the wrong question. I will tell you, don't buy real estate because you're looking at real estate the wrong way.
Well, look, you're speculating, as you mentioned, man. It's you might have a better run at Niagara Falls, right?
That's right.
Put it on black or red in that sense.
So what we want to do is we always want to just keep always cool, calm, and collected. And this data that we're going to go over is very important. It does tell the tale of what's happening. We do have anecdotal evidence in the last week alone, now in May, seeing some more changes. And we're going to discuss those as well, because this is the April story. This is what happened in April.
And you know what? I want to quickly talk about that because I know there's insiders that are watching right now and saying, well, last brunch, you guys talked about this. No, we didn't, because what we were speaking about then was
the Urban Nation report.
The Urban Nation report, which is GTA wide. Okay. And that was actually March numbers that we were talking about at that time. So today, not only are we going to be talking about the numbers that are hot off like the press, for a lack of a better word, okay, from Toronto Real Estate Board for April, but also we're going to be doing a deep dive into every single region, okay, the major cities in the GTA. And so we're going to go really, really deep into it. You're going to hear us and see that we're using the TREB stats to get your copy of the TREB stats. We made that very easy for you. All you got to do is text the word right now, stats, to 647-372-0126, so you can follow along with us. All you got to do is text stats to 647-372-0126, and you're going to get all the regions that we're going to be speaking about today. I also quickly wanted to mention that if you've not got that copy of our book that I was mentioning, because I saw a comment come in that I would love the copy of the book, all you got to do is quickly just send that email to info@reccanada.com and just ask for it. There's no cost for it.
And if you wanted a download copy just so you can read it over the weekend, it's not a big or hard read. It's a couple hundred pages. And
I call it 2 washroom sittings.
Two washroom sittings.
It's Brunch with REC.
We had to make the font size bigger because we didn't have that much to say.
Well, on top of that, like,
put a couple of pictures.
Like if it doesn't have any pictures in it, it's kind of weird. Who reads books without pictures? But I don't know if we did. Laura might have taken out the pictures, put them in. I have no idea. Shout out to my boy, good friend of mine, Jin. I see that you're watching. Has been a while. Hope everything is okay. Let's go right into it, buddy. Where do you want to start? You want to start in my neck of the woods?
No, let's do GTA.
You want to go heavy? You want to go high level GTA first?
Yeah,
okay,
because that goes right off the shoulders of what we discussed a couple of weeks ago from Urban Nation.
Yeah,
the GTA, we're now well into the 1 million. So across the entire GTA, across all asset classes of residential real estate, we're sitting at 1,064,000.
Hang on, Simos, because I know there's people who are watching who didn't understand what you just said in terms of all asset classes and all that. Talk about like what are all the properties, everything.
Condominiums, condo townhomes, freehold townhomes, semi-detached, detached.
Okay.
So across residential, not multifamily, across residential real estate, the story of the GTA is we have literally under a month's worth of inventory, 0.85 months of inventory. The average sale price is 1,064,000. We're sitting at 47,000 sales, which is the most. This could be a banner year.
Year to date is 47,000.
47,000. We're not at the 6-month mark.
Yeah. So
right now, the trajectory, it could be a record-breaking year historically.
Although the highest that we ever hit was 101,000, I think.
No, 115. It was 110. It was something silly.
2017
yes,
it was. Okay,
it was something silly.
Yeah.
So that's the banner year of real estate, and we are on a trajectory that we might break that this year. And if that happens, the the whole shock of, how are prices going up in the pandemic? What is happening? The airport's not even open yet.
Yeah.
Universities are not open yet. You don't have Canadian migration or international immigration. We're seeing this because the inventory is that tight. And we're going to go down. I can speak about this every day because I do. It's the same conversation. How do we solve this?
Yep.
I don't know how many podcasts or interviews we've done discussing this. Until the government actually looks at fixing this, the story will not change.
You're talking about the supply side.
The supply.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to talk about.
Right.
The low interest rates are driving it sky high.
Big point. Major point, right? Because look, that $1.1 million, call it $1.1 million of the average price right now in the GTA. If you put down 20%, which works out to be about $220,000.
Yep.
Okay. And you get a mortgage for 3 years, get it fixed at 2.1, 2.2%. Okay. Amortized over 25 years. You're looking at principal, interest, and taxes at around $4,300 a month. Okay, that's your payment. But look, when rates were 5, 6, 7%, and the property wasn't as much, your carrying costs were actually higher.
That's right.
Because the value, the value of the home, yes, was lower, but your interest rate was.
But that's
so
how
much
prices
higher.
go up.
That's how prices go up, right?
What is the first trick the automotive industry did? They took the conversation away for how much is the car.
Right.
Don't tell me how much is the car.
Exactly. Well,
No. So I would be like, how much is the car? They would say, no.
Let's sit down and
What-
talk about payments.
What is your payment? What payment do you want? How much is the car, my man?
Yep.
What is the payment you
Yep,
want?
Exactly. Well, that's because that's what you need to look at as a homeowner and investor, right? Like, what is it going to actually cost me every single month? Yes, you gotta be aware of your upfront costs, down payment, your land transfer taxes, legal fees, what we call closing costs, and then there's some adjustments as well. But at the end of the day, what is it going to cost me every single month to carry that home? So let's keep on going down the route here of the GTA. You said 47,000 sales year to date, days on market.
13 days on market. That has dropped another 30%.
Yeah.
Meaning homes are selling much faster, meaning that obviously demand is intense.
Yep.
Our insiders are telling us they are having a hard time. Our agents are struggling to keep up with the multiple offer presentations. A lot of them are having success, but we are, patting them on the back and nursing them from the L's too.
Yeah.
We're not going to allow our clients to pay a silly price that we know is unfeasible and wrong. So for the client to go through the motions of an offer, with the agent to go in once, twice, 3 times and have crazies at the table paying what they're paying without doing the due diligence, without taking into account the rents and doing what we do, also serves up L's, meaning that if our agent, if Jennifer is out with a client, the house is worth, I don't care what it's listed at. Listing price is irrelevant.
100%.
So let's call it's listed at 900, but we know the house is worth 1.1. So for them to pay 1.1, I don't have an issue with.
Yeah.
But for them to pay 1.4, I hold a big issue with.
Yeah. I love that you said that. Paying over value is bad.
Well, now you're
over
speculating.
asking-
Again, you're gambling.
Yeah, paying over asking, who cares? I've always said it. I think, Stephen, maybe you can make a note of it here. Like, there has to be videos of us talking about the fact that all homes and condos should be listed for $1. Why? Because then you actually have to go and find out what the value is.
That's right.
You're talking about car sales, right? And the car business. But in the car business, they use what's called a black book value. It's a little book like this thick, depending on what the year of the car is, how many kilometers, what kind of shape it's in, determines what the value is when you're trading it in, or if you're going to be buying a used car. In real estate, it's no different. What we use, real estate jargon is comps. Let me see the comparables.
Right.
What did a comparable home actually sell for? So don't get caught up in the hype, the media talking about a home sold for
400 over asking.
Well, I just saw one over like 520,000 over asking. Listen, that was done on purpose by the realtor and the seller. In fact, what you're seeing a lot of in the media, and we just actually sent an email out of about it yesterday, I believe, or the day before.
Check your inboxes.
Check your inboxes. Make sure we're not going into your spam. But the subject was along the lines of what we're seeing in the media. Sales have gone up 356%. When you see that and you read that would freak anybody out. Like, what the heck? 359%, 356%? Yes, but they're comparing it to, okay, you know what they're doing? They're comparing April 2021, okay?
To April 2020.
To April 2020. Can we go back a little bit?
So,
You know what I mean?
so let me ask you this.
You could do a black and white of us right now.
Is that a
Stephen,
comparable?
black and white.
Is that a comparable?
Well, not at all, because look at what was going on in April 2020.
It was a forced
yes.
shutdown.
And nobody was supposed to leave their home, which we didn't.
It was a forced national shutdown.
So there was no sales happening. I think that, well, I shouldn't say no sales. Let me give you the exact numbers. The exact numbers of April 2020 was 3,569 sales. 3,569 sales compared to this month. What did we see this month? I think it was a little over 13,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so we saw a little over 13,000 sales. So be very, very careful make sure that you don't read just the headlines. Ask us, guys. In fact, today, part of Brunch with REC is going to be taking your questions. There's a reason there's a phone sitting beside me right now. I'm watching the comments. Throw your questions in there. Steven's helping me out here as well.
Come on live, can they not?
Definitely. If somebody wants to come on live, what do we got to do there, Steven?
I will send you a link in your DM.
Okay, perfect. Just talk to Tyler in the comments and say, I want to come on live. I want to ask the two bald guys some questions, and we're going to
have some fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Have some fun.
But if you don't want to come on live, just ask your question in the comments, and I'll make sure that I go back to them. In fact, we'll do one really quickly before we go through the rest of the stats here, Simos. Our boy, I think it was Jonathan Quirk, who's an avid and a regular watcher of Brunch with REC, says, is the government actually doing anything about the supply side? Look, my thoughts on it, and then Simos, please pipe in with yours, is if they are doing something or they're not, at the end of the day, they're not doing enough, in my opinion. What do I mean by that? Well, I think they can, release some of this red tape that restricts builders. I'm not talking about the Greenbelt legislation in itself, because I actually believe in the Greenbelt legislation. Mm-hmm. We need it. We need the restrictions. We need to preserve the land. What I'm talking about is the fact that it takes so long for permits and zoning to go through the city, the all that red tape. If they can work on that, B, I mean, I think it's BC who's doing a great job with it, and Alberta as well, is to allow more laneway housing, right? And allow, and basement apartments is a massive pet peeve of mine.
Fix everything? No,
but it will at least get it better.
It will contribute,
right? What's your thoughts on what Jonathan was asking? Is the government doing anything? Are you hearing anything that I haven't yet?
Listen, they made some big changes with the LPAT in that whole process of development to try to make it better. Mm-hmm. So far, it has proven that it hasn't made a difference at all. Are they doing things? The answer is there are discussions. Our good friend of the REC that was on Brunch before, Tim, who was he on our podcast or on Brunch?
Tim Hudek was on our podcast, but we got to bring him into our Brunch.
He needs to come back because this is somebody who can actually speak to it, because he's an actively involved policymaker. So Tim Hudek is the president and CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association. We did get invited. It was postponed to have a conversation literally with himself, the Minister of Housing, along with our Mr. Doug Ford directly. Dougie. So, but Doug did have that case in his office. It was literally last week. Okay. And he had to cancel it because it was blowing up or whatever.
Got it.
But it is going to be rescheduled. Where I'm going with this, it is an active topic. Can they do enough fast enough? The answer is no. So right now we have a massive problem, a massive hole. Water's coming on the ship every single day, and the ship's just getting heavier. Until they can make it stop raining and open up the actual process, or zone Toronto from a perspective of every time I have to want to do a development, I have to start from scratch. So let's say you did a development right here at Cupcake Chocolate, okay? And I see a beautiful piece of land right beside you, and I want to put Cupcake Vanilla. Everybody pretends that nobody has ever seen an application before. but you just approved chocolate last year.
Mhm.
Why do I have to start with vanilla from very scratch and go through the hearings and go through the approvals with the citizens? It has to be made, and you can't make everybody happy. That is the biggest mistake. Trying to make
Correct.
everybody happy is
Forget about it.
the furthest way to failure and to being unhappy. So we're going to take a look at the downtown core. We're going to take a look at the midtown core, whatever the case. I'm not talking about beautiful old parks, etc. I'm talking about downtown. I'm talking about where transit is. People need to move. People need to move. So when you see a 50-story tower approved here, and I have to wait 10 years to do it right next door, there lies the problem. So let's identify these areas for intensification, which is happening, but not happening fast enough or good enough.
Well, and that's my pet peeve with basement apartments, not allowing them fast enough.
Why?
What are we doing here? If they're as long as they're made, like, obviously we need to do it through permits and bylaws, and then those people doing it not through that process.
So we need.
But why can't we speed that up?
We just
in
need
itself?
we just need to cut out this whole allowing for NIMBY, the not in my backyard.
Yeah.
It needs to stop. You live downtown Toronto. This isn't 1800. This is a real cosmopolitan city at this point. If anybody doesn't think so, that's your opinion, but Toronto is big. Toronto is sought after. People want to be here. And we cannot have nonsense anymore, slowing down progress, meaning that if Canada is going to go out to the world and say, I want 400,000 people a year to come here, and we're making them live in homes that they don't want to live in areas that they don't want to live in.
Cities that they necessarily don't want to go to because there's no jobs there.
That's correct. So we need to live what we preach. If we're going to go out to the world and say that we're open for business, prove it. To a real estate investor, to who we're speaking to right now, to you, if you are looking to become a housing provider, you need this process to become faster so it can become less of a barrier of entry. Prices would come down a bit. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing.
Well, as an investor, I would love for prices to drop a little bit.
Because you can buy more.
100%.
Because we're holding forever. So we're not doing the play of, cash my chips in today, get another one, cash it in again. This isn't penny stocks.
Yep. Well, you can't day trade it, right? We say that all the time. And again, if you're new to our world, understand that what we believe here in our macro thesis at REC Canada is buy and hold. It's the create wealth, get rich, slow path. There is, like, you will not speak to myself, Simos, our VP, our directors, anyone on our team that will preach to you that you can make money fast in real estate. Is there ways of doing it? Yes. You can buy a home, you can add value and sell it, but that's just not what we're experts at. We're experts at creating wealth long-term. The boring, tried and tested path over the past hundreds of years. So I hope if you're watching and you have any questions, I know a couple of more questions come in.
Can I elaborate to what you just
100%.
said? Because we're not experts.
Yeah.
So you want to buy a flip? Come to me. I'm going to sell you a flip right now.
Yeah.
But if something happens, because that's a business, and this is where people get it wrong. A real estate investor and a real estate business are two different things. Can the lines be crossed or confusing? Sure they can. Because the guy who's a flipper calls himself a real estate investor. Yeah. Because he is investing in real estate from a certain perspective. But he relies heavily on timing and things staying the same in a world that's impossible to happen in. When government policy that you don't control can shift the market. When a global pandemic that you don't control can shift the market. Where the bank policy can change that you don't control can shift your investment. So if you rely so heavily on outside forces that you don't control, and you're willing to go and flip a house, I'll sell you the house. I'll tell you what to do. But don't look at me. Don't you dare look at me. If that in 6 months that your timing was supposed to be out turns to 12 months or 18 months, your interest payments have now mounted that are stealing all of your profit, and you forgot to calculate the HST at the end, and now you've lost money.
Well, that's why I say, right, when I say that's not something that we do at mass here, right? Like, we really help more. If you look at our portfolio over the last 16 years personally, but also our clients' portfolios, they're all 98% of them
buy and holders
consist of buying and holding, refinancing, using that home as an ATM, pulling out equity and buying more. It's the tried and tested. Like, I know it's boring. I know it's watching, paint dry or grass grow. However, we know that so many of you
Let's
who are
speak to that
watching.
today. What email was I writing before we started today? What email am I writing right now?
I have no clue.
No, the email that I was composing.
To our
Yeah.
clients that are closing at Transit City.
Transit City 3.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like
Simos writes
literally
long emails. Jas writes one-liners and text messages. So
subject.
that's why. Yeah, I write everything.
I'll send you an email. Call me.
Yeah, call me.
So right now I'm writing an email
Yeah.
to 18 of our amazing REC insiders.
Bought when?
Bought in 2016 or 17?
July of 2017, and they bought on average price per square foot at I think it was about $700 price per square. Call it 700.
700. So this is just such a perfect example.
Mhm.
Like this is today because they're all closing in the next 30 and 60 days.
Mhm.
Okay. So in April of summer of 2017, if everybody remembers, is when the government literally tried to crash our market to bring it down. So we're at a real estate conference, a huge one. We're in Niagara Falls with our good friends at Keyspire. We get on stage. People are trying to interpret, what the hell just happened. It was a boom just like this. But this is 3 months post bust. So they introduced the Ontario Fair Housing Plan. They bust it all down. Some people allow themselves to be smart enough to see through the noise. And they knew that the market can't be stopped with outside forces. If there's a demand, there's a supply issue, there's only one way to go. Whether it takes a year, 2 years, or 3 years, we're going to talk about what they bought. Because back in 17, oh man, this is a lot of money. This is expensive. Just listen to me, please.
Yeah,
it's not expensive. This is what you're investing in. Let's talk about it. What was our pitch in 2017? Just like it was 2 weeks ago for House of Assembly.
What
was
500 meters under transit?
No, Transit City 3 is on the subway.
Well, I'm saying by 500 meters
okay.
under transit.
So this is at 0 meters.
Well, yeah, you literally live
Go
on
downstairs.
The subway.
Yes,
yeah,
on the
live
subway.
on the subway in Transit City, and you are guaranteeing yourself increase in appreciation and a massive pool of tenants.
So Transit
It's
City
been the same.
So Transit City 3, you guessed it, was the third building of Transit City.
Yeah.
Since then, we're to Transit City 5. Mankey's has launched about 8 projects, and there's at least 20 or 30 more towers coming.
Something like that in that whole Vaughan metropolitan area.
This is the VMC, the Vaughan Metropolitan Center. So if you didn't buy in 2017, but you can buy there now, call us, because in 5 years from today, it's going to be an exact Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Where we're going to be scratching our head saying, how is this possible?
And to that, Simos, I mean, to take it one step further, in 10 years, let's just say from today to 10 years, it's the same that it's been on average for the last 100 years. Prices double in the GTA.
So what is the strategy?
On average.
So what is the strategy to our good friends who bought there? So this is what happened. So let's say they bought it $700 a foot. So a 600 square foot condo cost them $420,000.
Yep.
Today, that 600 square foot condo costs $620,000. So they made a delta, and that's not maybe. Let's Google it right now, Kijiji it, or whatever.
Conservatively, it's a $620,000.
I'm being kind.
Yeah.
So they made a $200,000 delta.
Mm-hmm.
That profit of $200,000, unless you do something about it, it's just monopoly money. It's just worth that much.
Yep.
But what can one do? So now this is where
the ATM comes in.
And this is where the REC comes in.
Yep.
So I want you to walk me down the steps. So
No.
I bought a unit in 2017. I'm closing on it today, and there's a $250,000 delta.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, look, I mean, what I'm going to advise that you do, if you have the stomach for it, and there's not a lot of risk involved, but look, you need a stomach for it at the end of the day. But what we do and what we advise our clients to do is a week after closing is to go to and sit down with our independent mortgage brokers. You could do this with the Green Bank, Red Bank, Orange Bank, but I would always advise that you sit down with an independent mortgage broker. You said 200,000, I think was the delta. We're going to go back and get a refinance done for 80% of value
Of the new value.
of the new value, not at the 420 of the 600,000.
So now of the 620,000, 6 times 8
Let's
is
go
48.
six. Let's go 600,000 for easy math on your 80% loan to value. That's $480,000 minus the mortgage that's left. What you have now in your pocket after the refinance, tax-free money The only way
Real tax-free money.
legally not to pay taxes because you're not selling anything, you essentially now have a condo in this situation in Vaughan Metropolitan Center with none of your own money. It's 0% of your own money
With 20% equity.
with 20% equity that you
That's
take.
not a joke. That's six figures.
And now you take that and go buy another one. The cool thing is that that money comes into your bank account, into your checking account. You could do anything you want with it. You don't have to invest it. Obviously, we're biased, and it would be silly not to do it again. To do it again. And so that's what Simos and I do. Period. That's
Like
all we
us.
do. That's all we do. Like personally for us, we just, every time we close on a property, a week later, we go refinance it. To our friends and our insiders, massive congratulations to, I think it was 11 people that got in with us back in 2018, downtown Toronto at Harris Square. We bought there as well. We just closed on it. And within about 10 days or so, we're going to go and do a refinance.
Guess what?
We bought that at $400,000. It happens to be worth $650,000, that one now. And we're just going to refinance it, pull out the equity, and go buy another one. And so that's our long-term, boring wealth creation plan. But there's a couple of questions that come in. Guys, please get your questions in the comments here. Or if you want to actually come on live and you have maybe a live deal that you want us to you want to talk out with us, we're more than happy to do that right now. But there's a live question here coming in from Mike. Can you speak to Reliable, I believe? Can you speak to how to get comps if you're not an agent? So how do I get comparables if I'm not an agent? Really, the easiest way, depending on the area that you're looking at, Mike, is just ask an agent. Build a relationship with an agent where you are. If you don't have one, just shoot us a quick email. Tell us the area that you're looking at. Tyler will, within about 48 hours or so, make a connection for you, make an introduction for you to an investor savvy realtor. Again, it could be in Timbuktu, Saskatchewan. It could be right down the street from our office, wherever it is in the country. We can make that connection for you. All you got to do is send a quick email, and we can make sure that you get those comparables.
And that's across North America.
Yeah.
It's Canada. We have a ton of people now calling us from the States. Although our markets are a bit different, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity down in the States. So if you do have questions on investing in Canada and you're from the States, let us know. We can connect you to accountants, lawyers, for you to understand tax implications.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And you know what? That brings up another good point. If you're interested, this is just kind of a survey that I'm doing right now. It just came to me when you said, the States, because we have some really, really cool, exciting opportunities that we're hearing about. We're just not ready to necessarily come out with them, actually specifically in Orlando, in Florida. I just want to know people's kind of temperature on that. Would you be interested in us bringing on an expert in Florida or somewhere else in the States just to hear what's going on in their markets? If so, hit the blue like button. If you're interested in us bringing on an expert from the States, I specifically have always liked Florida. I mean, you and I took our families there a few years back. But if you're interested in us bringing in an expert from Florida, hit the blue like button. We'll kind of get a gauge on what your temperature is. And as always, we always try to reverse engineer what you guys are looking at.
And for a lot of you, because we know so many common people and a lot of you have been with us for a long time,
sorry, Simos, I didn't mean to cut you off, only because Bernadette put in, I don't understand none of your own money. What I mean by none of your own money is, yes, you needed, Bernadette, your own down payment that you originally put in. But what's happened is that when you did that refinance, you pulled out your down payment. You pulled out that down payment that you put in originally through the refinance. So that condo now that is owned, your down payment's in your pocket again.
And the market gave you that money.
And the market gave it to you because of the passive appreciation, right? So I hope you understood that. And I personally articulated myself well there, because you pulled out the down payment out of the refinance. There's no, none of your own money is in that condo right now. So hopefully we articulated that well.
And if not, schedule a call with myself, with Jas, anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not hard. We're not hard to get to. Shoot a quick message to Ty. Go into our website, any of our social platforms. There's links to get in touch, and we can answer your personal questions if the format here today is, if you feel it's inappropriate.
Okay, so we went to GTA Florida market stats. Now we're going to go right into the regions of the GTA. Where do you want to go next, Simos?
I'll just go in the order that you have them
Go.
in. We have Mississauga, Oakville, so we're going to go west.
Okay, go.
Mississauga, again, the story remains the same. We're up almost 19% year over year. We're just over 1 million at 1,008,000. 4,300 sales took place. That's 100% increase. That's not hard to do. Again, we don't want to dive into hype. Last year was closed. This year was open. 12 days, another 20% quicker to sell a home in Mississauga. So you're listing and you're sold firm within 12 days.
Can you
That's
please speak
nuts.
about months of inventory? Not like the number obviously quoted in Mississauga, but what does this mean? Why is that for us the number one market indicator? More than average price, more than number of sales, more than days on market. Months of inventory is the big one.
So
there might be somebody who's new who's watching. I just want them to catch it.
Yeah. So months of inventory in Mississauga is 0.63. What that means is that if today we stopped listing homes, in just over 2 weeks, there would be not a single home in sight for sale. And that is not healthy. That is a strong indicator of an extreme seller's market, meaning that you're not going to have, and now it's coupled with you have 12 days to go to actually go firm. You don't have a lot of choice. And you're not going to have the ability to bargain. You're not going to have the ability to go conditional. You have to be a prepared, well-oiled machine when you get to the offer table, meaning you've spoken to your broker. You may have already had a home inspector walk through it or walk the property before you ever went to the offer date.
Yep.
You have to do your homework in advance, which typically means you might have to invest a few bucks for any offer that you think you might actually like, meaning send your home inspector for $500. Spend that $500 so you don't make a mistake that'll cost you 2 years to recover.
And no offense to Uncle Johnny, who's done some repairs in and around the house. But let's bring in a certified professional home inspector. Spend the $500. The amount of times in our 16-year career that we've seen people cheap out, I guess that's the best way to put it, man, is cheap out and then spend $50,000 in expenses, repairs. So things will always come up with homes, but if we can be proactive,
this isn't the market to be playing games in.
Yeah, for sure.
So like above and beyond Uncle Johnny, I'm saying even in home inspectors, if you're going to spend $350 to get but you can get a Carson Dunlop appraiser there for $400. Spend the extra $50
100%.
and get the guy who has the biggest track record behind him.
Really quickly, if somebody's just joining us, text stats to 647-372-0126. Text stats to 647-372-0126 to get your copy of the most recent April market stats in the GTA. Oakville, we're seeing an average price point of $1.4 million. It is essentially the place that most people want to live in because it's by the lake on the south side of Oakville. The north side of Oakville has the newer homes. School districts are phenomenal. They just happen to have wider side streets than most of the other regions. Beautiful area. I know you lived there for 4, 5, 6 years, Simos. Months of inventory, still less than a month. Exactly, to be like bang on. It's 3 weeks right now. 3 weeks of inventory in Oakville, 1,800 sales. You'll also notice in Oakville, one of the main reasons that the average price is higher is because there's not many condos and townhomes. There is in Oakville.
And there's a lot more coming to market as the years go on.
Just because everywhere else you have no choice, right? Like you can't build subdivisions this way anymore. You need to go upwards. That's the story of the Greater Toronto Area / Southern Ontario. But in Oakville, you just have more. You have more.
So just to that point. So just to your point, for people to understand it, Oakville, 1,800 sales. Mississauga, 4,300 sales. Obviously, has a little something to do with the population too. Mm-hmm. But the fact it's not condos flipping hands quickly.
Yes,
it's big homes.
Yeah, agreed.
It's less homes. So just to Jas's point, the reason you have such a disparity with Oakville against the rest of the GTA is because their condo division is still primitive, to say the least, meaning they just identified that Trafalgar Dundas is a big condo corridor, but that's kind of about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you mentioned Toronto, like Toronto proper, 416, Toronto is number 1 in North America with the amount of cranes that are up in the sky. Number 2 in the world. Like, I'm not sure people understand how much development is happening. Like if you live here, you kind of like you almost forget about it that we're like we're a world-class city. Okay. B, the amount of construction that's going on. So to put it into context, number one in North America, period, hands down, and number two in the world. Let's go to York Region. Our friends in Richmond Hill and Vaughan and Markham, $1.2 million average price point. Interesting here, the months of inventory, Simos. It's over a month. It's over a month. What's your take on that, man?
And we haven't seen that in some time.
Yes.
So what's happening in Richmond Hill is you simply have a lot more listings coming to market. The days on market is still coming down by almost 30% year over year, meaning you still have to act quicker. But it is a region that has a tremendous amount of both end users. Some of the best schools in the country are in York. It's a very desirable region in the GTA. And we're just seeing a tremendous amount of inventory. I should say a tremendous amount because it's 1 month, but we're seeing
1 month is tremendous.
And this is what I mean,
now, right?
So I was speaking to a few of our good friends, Royal LePage agents, Chairman Club Performance, Sean Ziegelstein.
Mm-hmm.
And he has Team Zold, and he's just a beast up there. And we were just having a chat, broker to broker. How are you doing? What are you working on? And he goes, I'm listing left, right, and center. All the guys I sold to 5 years ago are all coming to market and either going lateral moves with bigger lots just a little bit up north, doing the whole East Gwillimbury, the just north of Newmarket, etc. So we have action of the lot. So the guys who bought in 16, 17, who had seen that dip, the minute now they're seeing the prices actualize, they want to get those moving. That's kind of my take on why it's happening. Yep. It's that whole class of 2016, 2017 that did get bit. It was York Region that got hurt in 2017.
Now, well, I just want to go back there. 14 days on market. I think the other point to why we're seeing a little bit more inventory, as well as when I look at days on market, not a huge different than the other cities, but the prices of these homes are a lot higher compared to other areas as well, right? Like average price point, we're looking at 1.2 million, but that's average, right? So what you have to look into there is that there's tons of properties that are $3.5 million, $4 million. We're talking the higher end price range.
So just as an FYI, as an FYI, we said Oakville is 1.4.
Yeah.
But Oakville's not a region, it's a city.
Yeah. Yep.
So York Region, I just read a report by Realidity yesterday. Yesterday.
Yep.
Explaining the 10-year highest region in the GTA.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. Yeah. York Region is the highest priced region in the GTA. York Region is not Richmond Hill.
Right.
York Region is Richmond Hill, Markham, Aurora, Newmarket, Gwillimbury.
Vaughan.
It's Vaughan. It's massive.
It's actually the biggest region out of them all right now, right?
And it's also the most sought after end user, period.
Well, yeah, I agree there because, other than Durham probably, and we're going to talk about Durham because that's been the outlier in terms of when you look at the last 5, 6, 7 years. But York Region is probably the region that we hear most of our clients want to move to when they want to get out of the hustle and bustle of the city, right?
And why? Because of the schools.
100%.
Because of the piece that comes in within York Region, the parks, the streets, the services. It's beautiful.
Well, before we go to Durham, let's go to my neck of the woods where all my paisans are. Brampton. Months of inventory, aka Little Punjab. I don't know. What do you want to call it?
Little Punjab.
Is that where you're going? I don't know where you were going.
It's exactly,
buddy. Average price point, slightly over $1 million. Call it $1 million. Days on market, 9 days on market. But months of inventory. It's interesting because last time we did this in March, the March stats. These are the April stats. So the March stats showed us actually less than 2 weeks of inventory. In Brampton, we're now up to, call it 3 weeks. We're up to 3 weeks of inventory. Here's what's going to happen. And I don't think we talked about this, but I apologize if you might have mentioned it, Simos, and I was eating my eggs and bacon here. But what we're starting to see, and I love that these things are recorded because then we can always go back, and we generally like to be historically right with these thoughts that we're having, is that sellers are going to start to get greedy. We saw this back in 2017, okay, where early 2017, just before the Fair Housing Plan. Buyers are smart. Buyers, end users, and home investors. What do I mean by that? That sellers are like, well, my neighbor just sold for $1.5 million. It's crazy out there, honey. These are the conversations that happen at home, right? Honey, it's crazy. Steven sold his house for $1.5 million. Now let's list our home at 1.5, but we're expecting 1.9. We hear these conversations
all the time.
and we're trying to educate the sellers like, no. Steven's house sold for 1.5 million. Market is continuing to go up. If you get 1.6, run with it, take it. But the seller's expectations are too high. They're getting greedy. And that's why they're staying on the market a little bit longer. And now we're starting to see months of inventory everywhere creep up slightly, not by much, but I think in the next 30 to 60 days, and this is kind of my forecast right now, the next 30 to 60 days, because we're also going to have the stress test come in June 1st. Okay, the stress test is coming in June 1st. Mixed in with the fact that sellers are getting greedy, I have a feeling we're going to start to see majority of these cities to get to the 1 month of inventory. Curious what you thought of that, because we've never had this conversation.
There's not many things that we agree on off the bat.
Yeah.
In this case,
we generally disagree
off the bat.
Off the bat. Yeah. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I understood that one.
In this case specifically, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Meaning that this whole 20% a month appreciation, the nonsense, it gets stopped right here. Greed. And again, this is because, again, I just turned 24 years old, so I don't want to age myself. But when I started this career,
nobody catch that.
But when I started in this career when I was 4 years old, so now we're literally 15 years in business. This is experience talking.
Yeah.
So this isn't again, you called it a projection and a forecast. Yeah. For us to be wrong means that we didn't learn shit from human beings and human behavior.
Well, we didn't learn stuff from actually the stats, right? Like, I mean, all joking.
No, but this is human behavior too.
Yeah.
So what you're explaining is that greed is settling in.
Mm-hmm.
So people are expecting the appreciation. And the reason that we are against it, it is an entitlement. And that's where it's wrong.
Yeah.
So when people say, should I buy now? Because I know it's going to go up 20% this year. I'll say, yeah, sure. Go ahead, buy now because it's going to go up 20%. But if we're not going to have a real conversation as to why it's going to go up 20%, and you just think that the taxi driver whose house went up 20% this year is going to happen to you too, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And maybe not on this one, but you'll lose on the next one.
Yeah.
So right now, I agree with you. Greed is settling. The entitlement of the appreciation is settling in. And that is a huge sentiment and emotion to watch in the marketplace, especially as investors.
Well, that's how you're going to create deals.
Yes.
The best deals in real estate, we've been saying this for years, right, is the ones that you create yourself. And how do you create them? You're going to create them by looking at the market and looking at the numbers, which actually brings up a great question from James. I don't know if you found it yet, Stephen, if you want to throw it up on the screen. And I think we should tackle that before we get to Durham. I'm just trying to pull it back up again.
What is the take?
Yeah, go.
So the question is, what is REC's take about the current valuation of the GTA's housing market? Is it overpriced or is it not, in fact?
So, I mean, my answer to that is yes and no. And it's not a cop-out. And in certain areas in the GTA, again, as you can tell, James, the GTA is very vast. And when you're looking at real estate, the one thing that REC Canada has been saying since its inception 16 years ago is that there are thousands of micro markets in the GTA. And so my answer to your question is some of the markets, yes, they are overvalued, but in some of them, it's actually undervalued. And the one that I personally have been watching since the start of the pandemic specifically, and I got tons of videos on that. Go to Instagram, figure it out, go to YouTube. There's tons of videos I've done on this, is in the downtown core of condos. Because the second we saw August 2020 to September 2020, we saw values drop in downtown Toronto by 10%, 90 cents on the dollar. Never have we seen that before, ever. Like
we're always competing.
Like you would have to go back to 1991. So I shouldn't say ever, but you got to go back to 91, 92 to see that kind of drop. And even in 2008, 2009, financial crisis right across the world, we were protected. Canada was quite protected, right? I used to use, I won't go with the joke I used to use because I'm not sure if we can yet. It might be too soon yet. But in terms of undervalued, downtown Toronto condos, we saw them at 10 cents on the dollar. You were able to get it for 10% less. Now, today in April, it's only about 4% less. So it's still undervalued, to answer your question. It's still undervalued. You can still get a deal, but there are areas that are overvalued. And as an investor, James, I wouldn't touch those places. Go, Simos.
Save and accept everything you just said because you went to the micro of it, and that is the correct thing to do.
Yeah.
From a high level, the answer is no, we are not overpriced. And the reason for that, James, is solely the fact that there is not nearly enough homes coming to the market for the tsunami of activity coming the minute that COVID is resolved here. So we're going to have every educational facility across the province open. We're going to have the airport full swing, bringing in permanent residents, tourists. It's going to be an onslaught of activity, and we are not prepared for it. And we are going to see a massive jump this year in the market. I just think, going back to what we said earlier, and for us to not come across as confusing, what Jas said holds 100% true. It's the micro market, it's the research, it's the team of professionals you surround yourself with. I'm not saying buy anything, it's all going to go up. I'm saying the market is healthy, the market is acting given its actual forces of supply, demand, low mortgage rates, etc. That's what's causing this in the market, and nothing has changed. So the market is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and it will continue to grow. You have to be cautious that you don't go into the wrong neighborhood. You have to be cautious that you structure your deals right.
And when you say don't go into the wrong neighborhood, also don't go into the wrong type of property.
That's right.
Right? The amount of investors that I get to sit down with, that you get to sit down with, we have a lot of data now where they start to try to jump some of the rungs on the property ladder, right? Like I'm just getting started. I'm starting out in investing, Jas, Simos, REC, and I want to get a 14-plex. Look, it's great to think big, but like there's something to do with 14-plex, bro. Like that we need to make sure. Why don't we just get a small little condo to start with? Why? It's not. Yes, I understand it's not economies of scale. I get it's not as sexy as a 14-plex. I get it. And the return on the investment's probably lower than a 14-plex.
Yeah, maybe you've never had to change a boiler that costs $180,000 either. That's fine.
Yeah,
though.
and if out of the 14, I also understand that if out of the 14, 7 tenants leave, you still got 7. I get that, but you know what the headache is to get the 7, like the 7 that have left? That's a lot of headache, a lot of loss of sleep. So make sure that while you're trying to create some of the best deal to create deals in investing in real estate, that you don't jump some of these rungs. Just start small and build it out. I love when I get to sit down with people and they want 100 doors and 1,000 doors. We have clients all the time.
Do it.
We have them on our podcast. We have them on brunches all the time. They have hundreds of doors, but let's get started with one. So I know there's people watching right now that you haven't done your first one yet. Like when you're ready, this is not a talk about like you need to do this tomorrow, but I'm saying, let's get you to one property. And if you have 3 doors and you have 3 condos and a single family and you have a duplex, now we can talk about getting into a multiplex. Let's build up. Let's go. Let's get to that next rung. And so I think that answers your question, James. Give us a thumbs up if that did answer your question. And for everyone else who's throwing questions in the comments, much, much appreciated. Keep them coming, because that's what we're probably best at. In all honesty, we're probably best at rapid fire. Simos, you get to speak about Durham, and our boy Stephen Rochester's like all perked up. This guy never really is listening to our conversations about real estate, but he's all happy right now because we're going to talk about Durham. I said that Durham's kind of more of an outlier and has been one. And he starts looking at me with his beautiful, beautiful eyes and waiting to hear what's happening in Durham. Go.
I mean, Durham is something that we never dreamed of. We never thought that 8 days on the market would do it. We never thought in a million years that we would see nearly 6,000 homes change hands.
With the average price point.
With the average price point of $900,000 in Durham. Durham, again, is a vast region. So to talk about Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, Bowmanville, all the surrounding towns and little cities, to be at an average of 900,000. If you've bought in Durham in the last 3 or 4 years, enjoy your newfound cash vault. It's time to start thinking a little bigger.
And if we got you something in Durham 4 years ago, I love vodka, he loves gin. Go.
Or scotch. And I know, like, I can say that I've done thousands of showings and sales in Durham, especially on suite income properties. I remember going out there once a week with Mike Nicholson, Sue Murphy, when we bought a series of properties. So many clients, great times, offer presentations. Like, some of my best memories are there. And like, legit, we were buying the properties that are 900, 950 now. We were buying them for $6.25 or $5.75. And we were sitting in the car. Are we overpaying? What are we doing here? Where are we going? Exciting stuff, man. What a market. And Durham is worth it. Like, to live in Pickering on Rouge Valley, to live in Whitby, just, it's God's gift to the like, it's just beautiful neighborhoods, like waterfronts, and
you have Go Transit. You have Go Transit, right? Transit for us is the number one metric that we're looking for. Like,
and they
as long as it's 500.
Right.
What do you mean?
I mean, Bowmanville,
yes.
The project that we sold, the first project we sold this year,
January, yep,
was in Bowmanville. People are like, you're going to sell a condo in Bowmanville? We said, it's at the door of the GO train.
Yep.
Yes, we are going to sell in Bowmanville.
And they're actually coming out with a second building there. And we're starting to see the pricing on that second building are 30
to 50K more.
And our 32 people that got in are making 30 to 50K more. Is there anything left here in terms of the cities, buddy?
There is Toronto.
I know that place.
You cover Toronto.
Okay, awesome. So average price point is slightly over $1 million. And months of inventory, we're about a month. You know what? We're pretty much at a month, which is a difference of about a week from from March of this year. So when you compare March, month over month, March to April, months of inventory has increased in Toronto. And one of the main reasons, in my opinion, is exactly what we were talking about slightly earlier, is that sellers are starting to put their prices, and they're expecting higher because of what they're reading and seeing in the media, that everything goes above asking and everything is going above value. This $400,000 or $500,000 above asking. And so now the sellers are wanting more, and the buyers are saying, whoa, hang on here. Let's put the brakes on for a little bit, and let's make sure that we're actually prepared. You know what, honey? Let's let this one go. And so we're starting to see where at the start of end of February, early March of this year, we were seeing 32, 38 offers on a property, on almost every single property, and now we're down to like 5 or 6 offers. For anybody who's watching, what happens?
We're down to 5 or 6.
We're down to, I know, right?
Terrifying.
But look, here's the big thing that happens.
Maybe we get a little entitled too.
Yeah, that's 100%, right? We all do. But look, when you have 30 offers compared to 5 offers, you're not going to get those big jumps in pricing, right? Because 30 offers essentially takes it's a 4 to 5 hour process to get through all the offers, then go from 30 to 50,
first round, 50, second round, third round,
right? By the time you get to the final round, there's 3 people, 3 families standing. One of those families say, screw this. Here's an extra 100 G's. I just want the friggin' house and let me move on now. But when you have 5, that process only takes an hour. And now you're not getting fatigued. You're not getting beat up as much. You know what I mean?
And you as an agent need to know what the hell you're doing.
And well, you better know what the hell you're doing.
I'll tell you that.
When you have 5 offers and when you have 40, you know what I mean? Our team's been going through it on a daily basis. And so, and days on market. So if you're thinking about selling your home or condo, you can kind of figure that you're going to be on the market for about 16 days or so. Condos, we should really quickly touch on condos.
Sure.
Again, we've seen an increase, in values compared to what I like to look at. The time frame that I like to look at is August, September of last year, because that's when we really saw the dip. That's when we really saw the dip in downtown Toronto condos, and now we've increased by about 5%. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
but
still
on the same token, I'll
Yeah.
stop you. I'll
Yeah.
stop you.
go.
You know why? This month's condo average price is actually the best metric you could use, because last year at this time, it was the market wasn't shook yet.
Yeah, it's
So-
not even close.
So last year over year,
Yeah.
you're up 18%
Yeah.
from what was still the price of the condo downtown was still in place.
Yep.
Like the integrity wasn't shaken off. So the 10% happened later. So this actual metric is a good metric
Because you're comparing it
So it
to
went-
last April of 2020.
where the prices hadn't been
They
touched
haven't-
yet.
Yeah, because that we started to see really happen, as I mentioned, in July, August.
So then if it goes down in September
Mm.
by 10%, and by this year now it's fully recovered and 20% above year over year, now you can say that the sale, not that it's officially over because we can always find a few little deals here and there,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to say to the 50, 100, 200 people that are watching that, call me because it's on sale. That's
Yeah.
over.
It's
It's over.
it's definitely not
That's
the
all.
fire sale that was
That's right.
essentially happening back
Which
in
we took
August,
advantage of.
September.
Dozens
So
of
many
people
of our
did. That's
clients
right.
did. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. If you have not yet got your copy of all these stats that Simos and I have been speaking about, simply text the word stats, STATS. I can't make it any easier. Text the word stats to 647 372 0126. You see it on your screen. You'll get a link. We've made it very easy to make sure that you get all the stats. I just want to make sure that there's no questions that are left here in the comments. Want to make sure. I mentioned about the stress test, Simos. Why don't you talk a little bit about what's coming around the corner within a few weeks? And so if buyers want to start to make it a little easier on themselves before
Yeah.
the stress test, they can.
So this isn't going to affect the investor community too much.
Yeah.
It's actually only going to affect a small portion of first-time home buyers. They're taking away they're adding friction. So let's speak in REC language. Jas has been harping down removing friction for the last 5 years.
There's a big sign behind you.
Removing
Spray
friction.
painted.
So in this case, all the government is doing, all the banking institutions are adding a couple of beeps
Yep.
inside the qualification rate.
I hate the jargon. I know, we use it all the time. What is beeps? What does that mean?
Sorry, a couple of
Basis points.
decimal basis points. So in order to get qualified from 5.25, it's going to be 5.4 or whatever the case may be. So they're just making it a little tighter for the first-time home buyers. They're looking to protect the market. So again, like you can look at this, that they're being my personal feelings is that it's dumb. I don't like it. You're hurting the one demographic that is looking to get into the market. You want to go after me? You want to hurt me as an investor to slow me getting doors down? I could understand that a bit, make it harder for me to speculate, but to harp and take out the small chance that a first-time home buyer has to get a home without the help of 4 family members, it is, in my opinion, dumb. It's not a sound thing to do, but it is happening, and it did somewhat work before in protecting the market and protecting literally the first-time home buyer from themselves.
Yeah, that's the part that I
know you
about
like
it.
that. I know.
You know I like that
I
part
do.
about it because leave us humans to ourselves and we generally screw things up, right? Now on the flip side of that, I don't like massive government intervention because it's never worked out in anyone's favor. But the last time they brought out this stress test, 2018.
Jan 1, 2018.
2018.
It's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. Sorry. Now they're making this change.
They made it a little softer. Now they're going back to make it a little harder.
Make it a little bit harder for the first-time home buyers that I actually am afraid for. I'm scared for them because they generally like to keep up with the Joneses. That's their mentality. You guys have heard me say, like in Brampton, they definitely like to keep up with the things because if somebody bought a 2,700 square foot home, the next call I get from a family member is I need 2,750. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is real things
I know
that I actually hear.
And that's everywhere. That's everyone.
And that's every community. You know what I mean? But with first-time home buyers, if we can protect them from not exceeding more than they need and really educate them. And that's what we try to do, REC here with your guys' help, everybody who's watching, is educate them on stomaching the least amount of home possible, meaning do you really need 2,700 square feet? Can we go to 1,500 square feet? Maybe in a little further.
Like, does Jas need a 20,000 square foot mansion with a helicopter pad, 3 swimming pools, and a trampoline?
I don't need
He
it. But I
does it.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
But and then invest the rest. You know what I mean? If we can educate them to invest the rest. So again, it's going to be interesting to watch. You're right. It doesn't really affect the investing community at all, really. It might actually, and now that I think about it, and as I say that, Simos, we might actually start to see an increase on inventory, right? Because the last time this happened in January, last time this happened in 2018, for 3 months, I saw, right?
Put the brakes on.
It did put the brakes on where it allowed investors like us to kind of come in and say, oh, great, we're not competing.
Well, what
with
happens
20
is
people
it takes about 90 days for the market to analyze what just happened.
and everybody puts their hands in their pockets.
Yes.
They put their hands in their pockets and say, I'm not spending anything.
Yeah,
and waiting. And it's like, okay, we know that you guys are going to get crazy again. We got this 90-day window to go nuts. So again, might be, history kind of repeats itself, right? It's our best teacher in that sense. So again, we're going to be watching it very, very, very closely. At any time, guys, if you want to sit down with an independent mortgage broker and start the process of what we call here at REC Canada, the REAP, Real Estate Action Plan. In fact, the viewers made it that title back last year. They voted RAP, REAP. We no longer use the word RAP. We use a REAP, Real Estate Action Plan. All you got to do is send the email in the subject line. Just write, I want to do a REAP. That's it. Tyler and his team and his division will make sure that all happens and gets taken care of. I mean, what a great message from Janie. I mean, obviously, I want to pat ourselves on the back. REC team, thanks for adding so much value.
Jenny Diarcole, she's wonderful. She's a huge supporter. I always see her on LinkedIn. I always see her on all the social media platforms. Thank you, Janie, for always supporting us and being there for us. We appreciate you. There's a cool question from Claude, and also I saw the message earlier from Claude, wishing me a happy birthday, Claude. Thank you, I appreciate it, and I miss you, buddy. So I'd like to see you hopefully soon after the stay-at-home order. The question from Claude to everyone is it true that profit from assignment sales are now fully taxable as opposed to capital gains? And do you want me to answer this?
Yeah, go ahead and answer.
The answer is absolutely. If you cannot prove that it was if you bought the condo as an end user and because of life you had to assign it, it's still a capital gain. If you bought this condo as an investor, so if you bought it from the REC because you knew you were going to make money and you were never going to live in it and you assign it, that is no longer a capital gain. That is taxable income because your intent was to always flip it, and you did.
Can I just say that even on Brunch with REC, not sure if you're watching on your TV or your phone or laptops, Simos and I do not play accountants. No. So make sure that you sit down.
I was speaking from my own experience only. Yes. Asterisk. I'm not responsible for it.
We should have that ticker at the bottom, right? What is it called? A legal disclaimer. Make sure you sit down with your accountant. And here's just some added on experience. I've asked 3 accountants that question. I've gotten 3 different answers. Because of your point, you need to figure out how you actually, we're okay here. Stephen, I have cops. I just need you need to approve on what the use of it is. And so you got to make sure that you do, though, sit down with an accountant. And if you don't know what an assignment is, why don't you answer that question, Simos? And then unless we have other questions, we're going to start wrapping this up soon.
Let's do this.
Go. So what is an assignment?
An assignment is the absolute legal function of taking any agreement. In this case, we're talking about real estate. So it's an agreement of purchase and sale. Mm-hmm. But any agreement whatsoever can be assigned. The assignment meaning is that this agreement is between Jas and Simos. You're the buyer. You're the seller. I am the buyer. And now Stephen wants to buy it off me. So what do? We do an assignment. So the document, it's prepared saying that Mr. Jas Takhar, the seller, we are assigning this agreement of purchase and sale to Stephen. I bought it for $1. The market crashed. It's worth 50 cents. He's buying it for 50 cents. Or the market spiked. It's now worth $4. I'm selling it for $4. Please approve the assignment. Now the new buyer is Stephen. So it is the assignment of a contract to a new entity. That's it.
Now, there, as an assignor, there's huge benefits to doing it. And as an assignee, the person who's picking up that contract or that home, that unit, there is a huge benefit as well.
Why is there a monster bottle of scotch on the table?
Why do you always like to take away the fun from me sometimes? I've noticed that recently. I don't know if it's because you're getting older, you become, from 23 to 24, you
Wow.
change.
Wow.
So I don't notice any other questions. Brunch with REC happens every other Saturday live here on Facebook. Do us a favor. Please tell a friend, family member, or colleague. We're going to end it off. I'm not sure what you have in your hand today while you're watching Brunch with REC. It might be H2O. It might be a little, what do they call them? Little mimosas. It might be a mimosa with brunch. It might be coffee. It might be tea. However, because it was my partner, because it was his birthday last week and I did not get to see him because
Okay,
we've been
relax.
so busy. It's not that much. Take it easy. We are going to do a little toast for our buddy. I've had the pleasure of being a partner with Simeon for the past decade and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's also one of my closest friends. He's another brother. He's definitely a brother from another mother.
To 15 more.
To 50 more.
To
Happy
50 more.
birthday.
And thank you for all the birthday wishes and all the best to every mother, every female, every daughter. Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your flowers, and we hope you get spoiled.
To all mothers, happy Mother's Day, mothers of kids, mothers of pets, mothers of whatever, to my mother, to your mother, to the fathers as well.
Yeah.
Listen,
Don't we have
The
a day? Do we have a day?
I don't know if we never really have a day, but nobody really cares about our days. I'll tell you that
Nobody
much.
cares about.
Okay.
We're making
Happy
this about
birthday.
us. We're just
Happy
taking it away from the mothers.
We always
We're
do.
making Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day weekend.
Happy birthday as well. Ooh,
Ah,
what a beautiful, beautiful bottle of
That's very
scotch.
nice.
Thank you guys once again. Please send the text message stats to 647-372-0126 for all and any other of your real estate needs. Quick little email to info@reccanada.com. Simos, sign us off, brother.
as
Right after the
absolutely always.
My mom's watching. Tell her happy Mother's Day.
Stephen's mom is watching. Happy Mother's Day to Stephen's mom. Thank you for giving us this beautiful,
Doreen?
beautiful
Doreen.
Doreen, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for giving us this beautiful specimen that is known as Stephen Rochester. Such a beautiful, beautiful boy.
He's a good
you've
man.
given us. He's a
very,
good
very
man.
good man.
Thank you, Doreen.
And he's been with us for years, and he will be here forever if we have anything to do with it. And we'd love to meet you after this and have some more delicious barbecue and drinks like we do with your son. Okay. To every single REC insider, to every single friend of the REC, friend of ours, family members. I saw my wife was up and around the live today. Well, she hates me, bro. She's not gonna hate me, bro. Love you, Caroline. Thanks for joining us. Okay, I just want to remind everyone that why I'm so grateful for everything is because you chose to be here. You chose to spend your Saturday morning with us. We take that so seriously. It is the pride and joy of our life and our work to be here and see people coming here as a source of information. So there is no higher compliment. There's nothing that pleases me more. Deal making is deal making. Like I love my work, but to see, in this case right now, just on Facebook alone, there's 46 people. Other times there's 300. Other times there's 700. Other times there's 12. I don't care if it's one, but if you're here with us and you chose to be here, we appreciate it. We thank you, and this is what it's all about for us. So from myself, happy Mother's Day weekend. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy spring. Be respectful to yourself and love yourself. Thank you from Simeon.